The sky over Earth's orbit was dark and still, except for the soft hum of satellites circling silently around the blue planet. From the surface, most people would never notice it, but in the vast emptiness above, tensions ran higher than ever. Humanity had built cities on Mars, mining stations on Ceres, and research outposts around Jupiter's moons, but Earth remained the heart of civilization. And now that heart was being threatened. News reports had come in waves, each one more alarming than the last. The Zereth Empire, a civilization that had conquered dozens of star systems, was sending a message to Earth. It was not a request. It was a demand. Surrender, it said, or face complete destruction. Governments scrambled to respond. The United Nations, once a symbol of cooperation, became a theater of panic. World leaders argued over the best course of action. Some called for negotiation, hoping to appease the alien empire. Others demanded preparation for war, insisting that humanity could not bow to threats. In the orbital command station Artemis Prime, Commander Leona Varg paced in front of the tactical display. Red blips flashed across the screen, representing the incoming Zerath fleet. Their numbers were overwhelming. Each warship dwarfed humanity's largest battleships. The station shook lightly as distant communication signals raced across the solar system. "They'll arrive in 48 hours, said Lieutenant Marcos, his voice tense. "And they won't negotiate." "We don't have the firepower to stop them head-on," Varg frowned. "Then we need a plan that doesn't involve fighting them head-on. We need ingenuity. That's the only advantage we have." Across the room, engineers and strategists murmured nervously. Humanity's fleets had never faced an opponent like the Zerath. Their weapons were advanced, their ships massive, and their tactics precise. Most humans assumed surrender was the only safe choice, but Varg refused to accept defeat. She had a secret hope, a hope that the Empire underestimated humanity in a way no one had ever seen before. Far beyond Mars, in the shadow of the asteroid belt, strange energy readings began appearing on deep space sensors. Initially, scientists assumed they were cosmic anomalies, fluctuations in magnetic fields or remnants of dying stars. But the readings were too structured, too deliberate. "Commander," said the junior officer at the observation console, "you need to see this. Something is moving in the belt." Varg leaned over the screen. Dark shapes emerged from the shadows between the asteroids. They were not asteroids. They moved with purpose, aligning themselves in formations that suggested intelligence and coordination. What are those?" whispered Marcos. Varg's eyes narrowed. "Human ships," she said slowly. "They're coming." The news spread quickly through the command station. Engineers, pilots, and soldiers gathered around monitors, watching as the sleek vessels slipped silently between the rocks. No one had seen ships like these before. They were unlike anything humanity had deployed in decades. Some looked older, almost like relics from Earth's history, but they carried modifications that made them deadly and fast. On Earth, people looked up at the sky in awe. 1,000 private videos captured the moment the warships were detected by orbital telescopes. Social media exploded with speculation and excitement. Who were these ships, and why had they come now at the exact moment the Empire threatened Earth? Back in orbit, Varg convened a meeting of the fleet commanders. Each was tense, their hands gripping the edges of their chairs. "These ships are human," Varg said, "and they are coming to defend us. We don't know who built them or how advanced they really are, but one thing is clear. The Zerath underestimated humanity." The room was silent for a moment. Then one of the senior captains spoke. "Commander, if these ships are allied with us, can we coordinate with them? Or will they act independently?" Varg shook her head. "We don't know yet, but we need to assume they're on our side. They wouldn't be here otherwise. We need to prepare for their arrival and adjust our strategy." As hours passed, humanity braced itself. The Empire's fleet loomed closer, massive shadowy silhouettes against the stars. Communications from the aliens were cold and formal, repeating the ultimatum: surrender or be destroyed. But then, the human warships moved. They did not attack immediately. Instead, they formed a perimeter around Earth, signaling a protective stance. Some vessels projected lights that blinked in patterns, a kind of universal code, as if to say, "We are here. We are human. We will defend our home." The Zerath, observing from orbit, paused. Their sensors detected the presence of human technology that was far more advanced than expected. Their commanders sent reports back to the Central Fleet. questioning the origin and strength of these newcomers. But the Zerath were arrogant. They assumed that even with these new ships, humanity would not dare challenge them directly. Meanwhile, Varg and her team worked frantically. They coordinated the orbital defenses, tried to communicate with the incoming fleet, and prepared evacuation protocols for civilians if necessary. Earth was tense, but there was a spark of hope. Humanity had always been underestimated, and now it seemed that history was repeating itself. In the asteroid belt, the mysterious ships continued their approach. Each ship carried weapons, shields, and engines far superior to any current Earth vessel. Pilots inside the ships communicated with one another using encrypted channels, speaking in familiar languages but with accents and terms that suggested they came from many different colonies or generations. It was clear, these humans were not just defending Earth. They represented the full potential of what humanity could achieve when united and determined. On Artemis Prime, Varg stared at the display, tracking the movements of the alien fleet and the approaching human warships. She felt a mixture of fear and exhilaration. For the first time in her life, she sensed that humanity had a real chance, not just to survive, but to fight back. She turned to Marcos. Prepare all communications channels. Make sure we can coordinate with the newcomers. And tell the Surface Command, maintain calm. Civilians need hope right now, even if we're not sure what's coming. Marcos nodded, though his hands shook slightly. Understood, Commander. I'll handle it. As night fell on Earth, people across the planet gazed at the stars, unaware of the battles that might soon unfold in the void above. But for those watching from orbit and beyond, one thing was certain. The Empire had arrived, expecting surrender. What came instead were human warships, symbols of defiance, ingenuity, and courage. Somewhere in the void, Admiral Kira Nash of the human fleet looked toward Earth. She knew the coming days would test everything humanity had ever achieved. But she also knew one truth. Humans never gave up even when the odds were impossible. And this time the universe would see just how dangerous humanity could be. The first light of dawn spread across Earth, but its people barely noticed. Their attention was fixed upward, toward the stars where the fate of their home would soon be decided. From orbit, Artemis Prime sensors continued to monitor the approaching Zerath fleet. Their ships were vast, glimmering metallic giants against the blackness of space, engines glowing faintly red as they drifted closer to Earth. On the bridge of Artemis Prime, Commander Leona Varg stood silently, eyes fixed on the holographic display. Around her, officers moved quickly, preparing defense strategies and calculating the odds. They're within range, reported Lieutenant Marcos. If they attack now, Earth's orbital shields won't hold them long. Varg's jaw tightened. Then we make them wait. Draw them in, slow their approach. We don't have to win this battle yet. We just have to survive long enough for our reinforcements to arrive. Reinforcements. The human warships, still moving through the asteroid belt, were closing in on the solar system faster than expected. Sensors could barely keep up with their velocity, but it was clear. These were no ordinary ships. Their hulls shimmered with energy fields. Their engines produced trails of light that defied conventional propulsion physics, and their weapon systems appeared both ancient and advanced at once. They're here, whispered one of the junior officers, awe in her voice. The humans. They've come. Varg nodded, hiding her own excitement. Stay calm. We coordinate. We survive. And then we show the Empire what humanity can do. The Zerath fleet, confident and arrogant, assumed Earth's defenses would crumble at the sight of superior force. Their commanders transmitted messages again, demanding immediate surrender. Their voice was harsh, monotone, and almost mechanical, meant to intimidate. Earth's defense communications remained silent. Instead, a new signal appeared, a series of pulses and coded lights. It was coming from the human fleet. Artemis Prime decoded the pattern as a simple but clear message. We are human. We protect Earth. The Zerath did not expect this. Sensors on their flagship registered unfamiliar energy signatures, and the readings puzzled their analysts. These were human designs, yet unlike any they had studied before. Commander, Marcos said, breaking the tense silence, they're forming a perimeter around Earth. Defensive formations. They're ready for battle. Varg's lips curved slightly. Exactly as planned. Let's see if the Empire can handle something they didn't predict. The first contact occurred quietly, almost imperceptibly. A small human reconnaissance vessel, sleek and fast, darted between the massive Zerath warships. It carried no offensive weapons, only sensors and communications arrays, but it disrupted the Empire's formation. The Zerath responded aggressively, attempting to intercept the tiny ship with their larger, slower vessels. "Impressive," Varg murmured. "They're using speed, intelligence, and agility to their advantage. That's classic human strategy, smaller forces striking with precision rather than brute strength." As the day progressed, skirmishes began. Human pilots used asteroid fields to hide and launch surprise attacks. Their ships released drones that disabled enemy engines, disrupted shields, or transmitted false signals to confuse the Zerath fleet. Even the largest human vessels were nimble, weaving through the massive alien ships like fish among coral reefs. On Earth, news of these maneuvers reached the public. People watched live transmissions from satellites and orbital cameras, capturing humans engaging the mighty Zerath with tactics no one thought possible. Civilians cheered and morale soared. Humanity had always been underestimated, and now the world saw the first evidence of its resilience. Meanwhile, aboard one of the approaching human warships, Admiral Kira Nash studied her tactical displays. She was calm, confident, and sharp, with years of experience in space warfare. Her crew moved quickly, responding to her commands, launching drones, and adjusting formations with precision. "We cannot underestimate them," Nash said, addressing her officers. "The Zerath may appear predictable, but they are patient hunters. Stay vigilant and remember, our advantage is in our ingenuity and speed. Earth is counting on us." The Zerath for the first time began to recognize the danger. Their officers gathered in panic, unable to reconcile the sight of human ships behaving with coordination and courage. "They are stronger than expected," one of their commanders admitted. "We have underestimated humanity." On Artemis Prime, Varg coordinated with Nash's fleet through secure channels. Together, they devised strategies to protect Earth and force the Zerath into positions where human ingenuity could exploit weaknesses. They placed decoy satellites, set traps in asteroid fields, and positioned long-range weapons at strategic points. Every move was calculated to buy time and confuse the Empire. In space, the first major engagement unfolded near Jupiter's moons. The Zerath attempted a direct assault, expecting human ships to retreat or be destroyed. But the humans had already anticipated this. Using clever maneuvers, the fleet ambushed the enemy, striking key engines and communications arrays. The Empire's vessels struggled to regroup, surprised by the speed and precision of the human attacks. "This is remarkable," Varg said quietly, watching the live feed. "They're using tactics no one thought possible against an overwhelming enemy." Back on Earth, civilians watched the battle unfold on screens and monitors. People from every nation felt a surge of pride. Children looked up at the stars, inspired by the bravery of the defenders. Leaders broadcast messages of hope, urging unity and courage. The world had never felt closer to the stars, nor more connected by a single purpose: survival. As the engagement continued, the humans revealed another secret. The ships were equipped with adaptive AI systems. These AIs learned from the Zerath's patterns, predicting their movements and adjusting human tactics in real time. Drones would disable one weapon system, while another human vessel attacked a weak point in the enemy formation. It was a dance of precision and intelligence, proving that technology combined with human creativity could challenge even the mightiest fleets. In the midst of the chaos, Admiral Nash gave a broadcast message directed at the Zerath. "We are human. You may have power, but you underestimate our spirit, our intelligence, and our will to protect our home. We will not surrender. We will not retreat. Earth belongs to humanity, and it will remain so." The Zerath fleet faltered. Their arrogance had been shattered. No civilization had ever fought with such boldness and cleverness. They realized that Earth was not a weak planet, but a symbol of human resilience. Varg, watching from Artemis Prime, knew the fight was only beginning. "This is just the first engagement," she said. "The Empire will regroup. They will strike again, but we've shown them something important. Humans are not to be underestimated." As night fell on Earth, the human fleet maintained its protective perimeter. The first day of battle ended without Earth being harmed. It was a victory, small but meaningful, and it gave humanity a chance to prepare for what was coming next. In the quiet of the fleet, Nash walked along the deck of her flagship, observing the crew. Engineers repaired drones, pilots recalibrated weapons, and officers studied enemy data. Everyone moved with purpose, driven by the knowledge that Earth's survival depended on their courage and skill. This is what humanity can do, Nash thought. We may be young among the stars, but we are clever, resourceful, and determined. They may have power, but we have something stronger, the will to survive and the courage to fight for what is ours. Above Earth, stars shone brighter than ever, and somewhere in the void, human warships glided silently, ready to defend their home. The Empire had expected submission, but what arrived instead were humans united, clever and prepared for battle. The first contact had been made. And humanity had not only survived, it had struck fear into the heart of the greatest threat the solar system had ever known. The battle in the outer solar system was far from over. Human warships hovered near Jupiter, using the moons and asteroid clusters as cover. The Zerath fleet, though massive and confident, began to feel the sting of unexpected resistance. Their officers communicated in sharp, hurried tones, unsure how to respond to the humans' speed and ingenuity. Admiral Kira Nash watched the tactical display aboard her flagship. Valiant Star, her eyes scanning the positions of every ship. Small drones zipped through the void, disabled enemy shields and intercepted signals. Larger vessels weaved around asteroids and planetary rings, striking quickly and vanishing before the enemy could retaliate. "This is working," Nash said to her second-in-command, Commander Tal. "We've forced them to spread thin. They cannot maintain formation in this terrain, and our drones are causing chaos in their systems." Tal nodded. "Their communication network is compromised. Their ships are responding slower and their fleet coordination is breaking down." Nash smiled slightly. "Exactly. That is humanity's edge." The Zerath, confident in their technology and power, had underestimated human adaptability. They had assumed Earthlings would react predictably, hiding, surrendering, or fleeing. Instead, humans used strategy, ingenuity, and relentless determination. Every attack, every maneuver had been carefully planned yet flexible enough to respond to the unexpected. On Artemis Prime, Commander Leona Varg monitored transmissions from the human fleet. She marveled at the way smaller ships swarmed the larger Zerath vessels, using speed and intelligence rather than raw firepower. It was a style of warfare the Empire had never encountered, and the humans were exploiting it brilliantly. "Varg, they've taken out 3 of the enemy's shield generators near Ganymede," reported Lieutenant Marcos. "They're weakening the front lines. This could be a turning point." Varg clenched her fists. "Good, now we push further. Prepare orbital weapons and relay positions to the fleet. If they can hold their ground here, we can defend Earth and strike back simultaneously." Meanwhile, deeper within the human fleet, Nash convened a meeting with her ship captains. Each captain had a unique perspective. Veterans from Martian colonies, engineers from Ceres, and pilots from orbital stations. Their diverse backgrounds gave them an advantage, allowing them to think creatively and adapt quickly. "Our enemy is powerful," Nash said, "but they are predictable in arrogance. They underestimate us. They do not anticipate humans working together with speed, intelligence, and ingenuity. That is our weapon. Stay alert, stay coordinated, and always think 2 steps ahead." The captains nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. They knew the odds were daunting, but the morale within the fleet was high. Humans thrived in adversity, and they had proved it time and again. In the asteroid belts near Jupiter, the first major coordinated attack unfolded. Small human ships darted between rocks and debris, launching drones that sabotaged key systems on the enemy vessels. Larger human warships followed, using adaptive AI to predict the Zerath's movements and strike vulnerable spots. The enemy was forced to retreat, but they were relentless. Massive Zerath ships launched energy beams that cut through the void, aiming to destroy human vessels in single devastating strikes. Yet the humans were ready. Ships split and maneuvered, drawing enemy fire while others attacked weak points. Each move was precise, and each tactic showcased human intelligence and teamwork. On Earth, scientists and engineers monitored the battle in real time. They shared data with the fleet, helping to optimize strategies and predict enemy movements. Civilians watched with awe, witnessing humans challenging the most powerful force in the galaxy. Children cheered at every success, and adults felt a new pride, realizing the potential of humanity when united. Back aboard Valiant Star, Nash studied the enemy fleet's formation. "They are retreating toward the asteroid field," she said. "It's a trap in their mind. They think they're regrouping. But we can turn it to our advantage." Split into 3 divisions. One follows them in pursuit, one flanks from the right, and one prepares to ambush from the left. Timing is crucial. The captains executed the plan flawlessly. As the Zereth fleet moved forward, human warships emerged from hidden positions, striking with precision. Enemy ships were disabled, their engines malfunctioning under the relentless attacks of human drones. The Empire's commanders had never seen a coordinated strike like this. They could not believe that humans had anticipated their every move. "This is unprecedented," a Zereth officer said nervously. "They are not just defending, they are attacking strategically, predicting our actions." On Artemis Prime, Varg smiled grimly. "That's humanity. We do not wait for the inevitable, we create it. We adapt, we fight, and we survive." As the battle continued, the humans revealed another advantage: the use of combined technology. They had salvaged alien tech from previous encounters and merged it with human engineering. The result was a fleet capable of countering the Empire's most advanced weapons. Shields adapted to energy patterns, drones intercepted attacks before they reached their targets, and adaptive AI allowed for real-time tactical adjustments. Despite the chaos, Nash maintained calm. Her crew trusted her decisions, moving with confidence and precision. The morale of the fleet was unmatched, and every success reinforced the belief that humanity could not only survive but triumph. The turning point came near the orbit of Europa. The Zereth attempted a massive strike, expecting to overwhelm the human fleet with sheer force. But humans had predicted this. Using a combination of decoys, drones, and precision strikes, they disabled the lead ships and forced the enemy into a narrow corridor between Europa and its moons. The Empire's fleet became trapped, its size now a disadvantage. Varg monitored the engagement from Artemis Prime. "This is it," she said softly. "Our friends are creating a real advantage. If they succeed, Earth will have a chance to breathe." And they did. The humans executed the maneuver with brilliance. The trapped Zereth vessels were disabled, some forced to retreat while others were captured. The victory was significant, a clear demonstration that humans, though outnumbered, could outthink and outmaneuver the galaxy's most formidable force. On Earth, celebrations were muted but heartfelt. The people knew the fight was far from over, but hope was renewed. Humanity had shown that intelligence, courage, and unity could challenge even the mightiest opponent. In the quiet moments after the battle, Nash walked along the deck of Valiant Star. She observed the crew, engineers repairing drones, pilots recalibrating weapons, and officers analyzing data. Every person moved with purpose, driven by the knowledge that Earth's survival depended on their actions. "We have won today," Nash said quietly to herself. "But the Empire will return. They will not accept defeat lightly. Still, we have shown them our strength. They underestimated humanity, and that will be their greatest mistake." Above, stars shone like diamonds in the endless void. Human warships glided silently, prepared for whatever the Empire would send next. Every officer, pilot, and crew member knew that the coming days would test their skill, courage, and ingenuity. But humanity had already proved one truth. They could adapt, they could endure, and they would fight to protect their home. The first major victory was a spark of hope. And in the hearts of humans everywhere, that spark would grow into a blazing determination. The Empire had arrived expecting submission. What they faced instead was humanity, clever, fearless, and united. The war was only beginning. But Earth's defenders now held the advantage that could turn the tide. And somewhere in the void, human warships moved with purpose, ready to strike again, ready to protect their world, and ready to show the galaxy that humanity's spirit could never be broken. The solar system was no longer quiet. Reports from satellites, deep space sensors, and human warships flooded Artemis Prime. The Zereth Empire, shocked by humanity's unexpected resilience, scrambled to reorganize their forces. Their arrogance had been shattered by the speed, strategy, and courage of human pilots. Now desperation crept into their ranks. Commander Leona Varg watched the displays with steady eyes. Red blips representing the enemy moved erratically, trying to regroup after their defeats near Jupiter. But every maneuver the Empire made played into the humans' hands. Varg understood one truth. The Empire was not invincible, and humans had already demonstrated a power far greater than mere technology, their creativity, adaptability, and unity. "Commander," Lieutenant Marcos said, pointing to the screen, "they're trying a full-scale assault. It looks like they intend to hit Earth's orbit directly. Their fleets are splitting into multiple vectors." Varg's gaze sharpened. "Then we prepare for them. Artemis Prime coordinates with orbital defenses and civilian evacuation programs. Humanity's edge is more than warships, it's strategy and courage. We use everything we have." Far from Earth, Admiral Kira Nash's fleet maneuvered with precision. The humans had learned from the previous engagements. Anticipate the enemy, adapt quickly, and use intelligence over brute force. The fleet was divided into specialized units, one to intercept, one to flank, and one to deploy drones and disrupt the Empire's command systems. "We cannot let them reach Earth's orbit intact," Nash said to her officers. "Prepare all drones, shield reinforcements, and maintain communications with Artemis Prime. Timing and coordination are our greatest weapons." The Zerath launched their assault. Massive energy beams cut through space, aiming at orbital defense stations and the approaching human fleet. Yet human ships moved with agility and foresight. Small vessels dodged and weaved while larger warships drew fire strategically, allowing drones to disable critical components of the enemy fleet. Each strike was precise, a demonstration of human ingenuity at its finest. The first wave of the Empire's attack faltered. The humans' combined tactics disrupted the enemy's coordination. Ships collided, engines misfired, and communications scrambled under constant drone interference. The Zerath fleet's confidence wavered, their commanders realizing that Earth's defenders were not only capable but unpredictable. On Artemis Prime, Varg issued orders calmly. "Relay positions to Nash, adjust orbital defenses. Use debris fields and satellites to create traps. Every system, every civilian outpost, every weapon matters. Humanity survives because we think, adapt, and act together." The battle grew intense near the asteroid belt surrounding Mars. Human pilots exploited gravitational pulls, hiding ships among moons and rocks before striking at the largest enemy vessels. Energy beams met adaptive shields, and every attack was countered with precision. The Empire was powerful, but they were struggling against something they had never faced: human creativity. Meanwhile, on Earth, civilians contributed in their own ways. Engineers and scientists at research facilities transmitted new defense algorithms, calculated trajectories for orbital weapons, and coordinated logistics for evacuation if needed. Even on the surface, people found ways to protect critical infrastructure, demonstrating ingenuity and courage. Humanity was united, not just in the military but across every sector of society. As the Zerath fleet pressed forward, Nash directed her ships toward a cluster of massive moons orbiting Jupiter. The humans had prepared a trap. Using adaptive AI and drone networks, they disabled the leading ships of the Empire while simultaneously drawing their attention away from weaker points in the enemy's formation. "Flank them from both sides," Nash commanded. "We strike together. Remember, this is not just defense, it's teaching them the cost of underestimating humanity." The maneuver succeeded brilliantly. The Zerath fleet, forced into narrow corridors between moons, became vulnerable. Human drones disabled engines and energy conduits, causing some enemy vessels to drift helplessly. The Empire's commanders had never seen such coordinated tactics. They realized they were no longer the hunters. They were the prey. Varg observed the progress with satisfaction. "They underestimate our ingenuity," she said softly. "Humans adapt, humans unite, and humans never give up. That is why we will survive." In the midst of the chaos, Nash identified a critical opportunity. The lead command ship of the Empire's assault was exposed. A coordinated strike by the human fleet could disable it, causing confusion and disorder across the entire enemy formation. "Prepare the attack," Nash ordered. "This is the moment to turn the tide. Focus all firepower and drones on the command vessel. Precision, timing, and coordination. Everything depends on this." Human ships moved with flawless synchronization. Drones swarmed the target, disabling shields and jamming communications. Missile-like projectiles struck weak points, while the main fleet fired coordinated energy bursts. The command ship faltered, engines stalling as its systems failed under relentless attack. The Zerath fleet, now leaderless, struggled to maintain formation. Confusion spread rapidly and ships began retreating or colliding due to miscommunication. It was a decisive victory, a testament to human intelligence and courage. On Earth, celebrations were restrained but heartfelt. Humanity had not only survived another wave, they had inflicted a strategic blow to the Empire. People cheered in streets, children looked to the stars with wonder, and leaders broadcast messages of hope and unity. For the first time in generations, humans felt truly powerful in the face of the unknown. But Varg knew the fight was far from over. "This is a victory," she said to Marcos, "but the Empire will regroup. They are vast and patient. We have to prepare for the next wave, stronger and smarter than before." Back aboard Valiant Star, Nash addressed her crew. "Today we showed them the strength of humanity. But remember, this is just the beginning. The Empire will test us further. We must remain vigilant, adaptable, and united. Our courage is our shield, and our intelligence is our weapon." In the quiet moments after battle, humans repaired ships, recalibrated systems, and analyzed enemy tactics. Every crew member understood their role in protecting Earth and ensuring humanity's survival. Engineers worked tirelessly, pilots trained relentlessly, and officers studied data with precision. The unity of purpose was unmatched, a true reflection of human spirit. The Zerath Empire, for the first time, questioned its own assumptions. They had expected submission, but humanity had responded with strategy, ingenuity, and relentless courage. Their pride was wounded, their plans disrupted, and their confidence shaken. The galaxy had not seen humans like this before. Humans who could think, adapt, and fight with brilliance far beyond what raw power could achieve. Above Earth, the stars sparkled with quiet brilliance. Human warships hovered in the void, silent and vigilant. Every officer, pilot, and crew member knew that the coming days would test them further. But humanity had already proven one truth. They could endure, adapt, and overcome. Varg gazed at the star-strewn sky from Artemis Prime. "We are not the weakest. We are not helpless. We are humans, and humans survive no matter the odds." And somewhere in the asteroid belt, Nash's fleet moved with precision, ready for whatever the Empire would send next. They had turned the tide once. Now they were prepared to do it again. Humanity had shown its edge, its brilliance, and its unyielding will. The Empire had underestimated them, and that mistake would define the war to come. The stage was set. Earth was defended. Humans had proven their ingenuity, and the galaxy would soon learn that humanity could not be controlled, predicted, or defeated easily. The fight was far from over, but for now humanity had the advantage. The solar system trembled under the looming presence of the Zerath Empire. Their remaining fleet, battered and disorganized, hovered at the edge of the asteroid belt. The Empire's commanders knew that humanity had proven itself far beyond what they expected. Every wave of attack had been met with clever countermeasures, strategic brilliance, and unyielding courage. Now the time had come for a final confrontation. On Artemis Prime, Commander Leona Varg oversaw the coordination of Earth's defenses. Her fingers moved swiftly over the console, transmitting updated tactics to human warships and orbital stations. Civilian evacuation programs continued in parallel, though hope was high and morale stronger than ever. Humanity had survived, adapted, and was now ready to strike decisively. Lieutenant Marcos pointed to the tactical map. "Commander, the Empire's flagship is moving to regroup near Saturn. If we act now, we can isolate their fleet and force a surrender." Varg's eyes narrowed. "Good, prepare all fleets. This is our chance to show the galaxy what humans are capable of. Remember, precision, coordination, and unity will win this battle." Far beyond Mars, Admiral Kira Nash's flagship, Valiant Star, led the human fleet toward the enemy. The crew moved with purpose, each member aware that the coming engagement would determine the fate of Earth and the survival of humanity. Pilots recalibrated weapons, engineers optimized shields, and officers analyzed the Empire's weakened formations. Nash addressed her officers calmly but firmly. "Today we do more than defend. We end this threat. Our advantage is not in numbers, it is in intelligence, strategy, and courage. Execute every maneuver with precision. Protect each other and protect Earth. Humanity depends on us." The first wave of the final battle began near Saturn's rings. The human fleet divided into coordinated divisions, one to engage the enemy directly, one to flank and cut off retreat, and one to deploy drones and sabotage systems. The Zereth, confident but weakened, launched massive energy beams aiming to break the human lines. But humans had anticipated this. Adaptive AI systems predicted the Empire's moves, allowing ships to dodge and counterattack with deadly efficiency. Small human vessels darted among the rings, invisible to enemy sensors. Drones disabled shields, jammed communications, and even turned some weapons against the enemy. Larger warships, including the Valiant Star, delivered precise strikes at vulnerable points in the Empire's formation. Each attack was calculated, intelligent, and devastating. The Empire faltered. Ships collided, engines misfired, and their formation broke under the pressure. The command chain was disrupted as the flagship struggled to maintain control. Humans had turned the enemy's strengths against them, exploiting arrogance and overconfidence with strategy and teamwork. On Earth, people watched live transmissions with bated breath. Children and adults alike felt pride and hope. Humanity was fighting not just with technology but with creativity, courage, and unity. Every maneuver, every strike, proved that humans were not to be underestimated. Nash identified the final opportunity. The Zerath flagship remained exposed, struggling to escape the coordinated assault. She called her captains together. "This is the moment," she said. "We disable their flagship and the rest of their fleet will have no choice but to retreat. Timing, precision, and unity are everything. Make every strike count." The human fleet executed the plan flawlessly. Drones swarmed the flagship, disabling shields and energy conduits. Missile-like projectiles struck key points while larger ships fired coordinated energy bursts. The flagship shuddered as systems failed one by one. For the first time, the Empire's commanders realized that defeat was imminent. "Retreat," one of the officers ordered, but it was too late. The human fleet had anticipated their movements. Smaller vessels cut off escape routes while drones disabled engines and weapon systems. One by one, the remaining Zerath ships were forced to retreat, surrender, or face destruction. Varg monitored the battle from Artemis Prime, her expression calm but determined. "Humanity has won this day," she said softly. "But more importantly, we have shown what we are capable of. Intelligence, courage, and unity. That is our true power." The aftermath was remarkable. Earth remained safe. The human fleet had suffered only minor damages and the Zerath Empire had retreated, their arrogance wounded and their pride shattered. Across the solar system, humans celebrated quietly but sincerely. They had faced a superior force and emerged victorious, not through raw power but through ingenuity, strategy, and an unyielding will to protect their home. On the Valiant Star, Nash addressed her crew. "Today we defended our home and proved that humanity cannot be underestimated. But remember, our work is not finished. We must rebuild, prepare, and ensure that Earth and our colonies remain safe. Today we have written history. Tomorrow we secure our legacy." In the following days, Earth's people organized celebrations, repairs, and gratitude ceremonies for the human fleet. Children drew pictures of warships and pilots. Scientists shared stories of human ingenuity and courage. Leaders broadcast messages of unity, praising the determination and bravery of everyone who had defended their home. Varg walked through Artemis Prime, observing the crews working tirelessly. Engineers repaired drones, pilots recalibrated sensors, and officers studied data from the battle. Every individual understood their contribution to humanity's survival, and every action reinforced the unbreakable spirit that had carried them through the conflict. Meanwhile, Nash's fleet returned to orbit around Earth. Ships glided silently through space, a visible reminder of humanity's strength and determination. Civilians looked up in wonder, feeling pride and hope for the future. Humanity had not only survived, they had won a decisive victory against a far superior enemy. Varg joined Nash on the deck of the flagship. "We've done something remarkable," Varg said. "Not just for Earth, but for humanity as a whole. The Empire will think twice before underestimating us again." Nash nodded. "We've proven that technology is powerful, but intelligence, courage, and unity are stronger. Humans can adapt, innovate, and endure. That is our greatest weapon." In the quiet moments that followed, humans reflected on what had been accomplished. The victory was not just military. It was a testament to human spirit. People across Earth and the colonies felt pride, hope, and the realization that even when facing impossible odds, humanity could survive, adapt, and thrive. For the first time, the galaxy would take note. Humanity was no longer a minor player to be conquered or ignored. Humans had defended their home, struck down a superior force, and demonstrated the potential of ingenuity, courage, and unity. The story of Earth's defense would inspire generations to come, showing that even the smallest planet could stand against the mightiest empire. Above Earth, human warships hovered in silent vigilance, prepared to defend their home against any future threat. Every officer, pilot, and crew member understood their role in history. They were guardians, innovators, and defenders, and in their hearts burned a truth as old as humanity itself. Humans endure, humans adapt, and humans never surrender. The Zerath Empire, humbled and wary, retreated into the depths of space. Their pride was broken and their assumption of human weakness shattered forever. They had expected submission, but what they found instead was a force united, clever, and fearless. Humanity had claimed its place in the galaxy, not through domination, but through the power of spirit, intelligence, and courage. Varg and Nash watched the stars together, knowing that this was only the beginning. The solar system was safe, Earth was defended, and humans had proven that their ingenuity and unity could overcome any obstacle. "This is humanity," Varg said quietly. "We are clever, resilient, and united. The galaxy has seen our strength, and they will never forget it," Nash smiled. "And we will keep moving forward, exploring, learning, and protecting what is ours. Humanity has faced the impossible, and we have won. That is the legacy we leave for every generation to come." As stars twinkled in the vastness of space, Earth and its defenders stood strong. Humans had faced annihilation, defied expectation, and emerged victorious. The Empire had underestimated them, and that mistake had changed the course of history. The galaxy now knew one truth: never underestimate humanity.